All right, welcome back. Barbell built body. Next video. Today we're talking about the triceps. I'm just going to jump right into it. Let's start off with the actions of the triceps, and then we're going to get into training it, training them, and then talking about the whole idea of like cheating the movement, because you can't really cheat the movement too much when training the triceps, and we'll explain why later. So let's get right into it. First of all, action. So triceps, there's three heads. You have the long head, which is closest to the body. You have the medial and then the lateral head on that, furthest out. So long, medial, lateral. Okay, now the long head, so the closest part to the body, is the only one that crosses the shoulder joint. It attaches in the scapula, which means it plays a part in shoulder extension. So from here to here, right? So going down, shoulder extension. All three are involved in elbow extension, right? So going from flex to extended. If you're performing this action, you're targeting the triceps. Now, they're the only muscle group, right? So the three heads are the only muscle in the body that crosses the elbow joint, which means they're the only muscles that produce this. There's also the anconeus, which is a tiny little dinky muscle nobody cares about, right? That's not going to be producing much force. It's tiny across the elbow. We're not worried about that. So if you are performing a resisted version of elbow extension, whether you're thinking about it, the mind-muscle connection or not, which I'll probably get into a different video. I got a handful of articles that I want to read. I've been reading nutrition mainly for school, so we'll get into the mind-muscle connection later. But if you are performing elbow extension, you're training the triceps. There's no other way for you to produce that movement without targeting the triceps, right? Other than, like I said, the little tiny dinky muscle, the anconeus, which nobody cares about. Now, so with that said, when people talk about cheating the movement, it's not, the issue is that with the long head attaching to the scapula and contributing to slight shoulder extension, right? So going from like here to here. So oftentimes if you're doing this, imagine I have like a rope, I'm doing like a pull down, I come down, and my elbows kind of drop, so that little bit of extension, and then, or shoulder extension, and then elbow extension. Now, the only way to cheat that, right, the triceps are not the only muscle that perform shoulder extension. You have the lats, posterior, deltoid, and teres major. Okay, so what you can be doing if you're cheating the movement, you're still not cheating the movement, because the lats are going to be engaged if you're going like this, or not lats, excuse me, the triceps, the long head, and then it takes over, it's solely the triceps, right? As soon as you stop that elbow extension, it's triceps the rest of the way, exclusively. Now, when you cheat the movement, if you swing down, you're getting momentum from the lats, teres minor, or teres major, and posterior deltoid as you come down, thereby easing the tension off the triceps once you get to here, because you have the momentum, and then finishing out the movement. So it's not cheating, you're still targeting the muscle. Like I said, if you are performing elbow extension, you are targeting the tricep. I think people need to, regardless of whether you're thinking about it, you're activating it, if you're producing that movement resisted, you are targeting the triceps. There's no other muscle you can be doing. You can be targeting during that movement. Now, as far as the cheating goes, so as Dr. Brent Brookbush, that's a tongue twister for me, DPT, he talks about any muscle that can be used will be for the action. So when you add in the shoulder extension to something like a pull down, so if your elbows are here, drop down, right? So shoulder extension, any muscle that can be, you can't turn off the lats, you can't turn off your posterior deltoid, you can't turn off your teres major, which means, yes, there's going to be less tension necessarily, possibly on the, at least during, as you're moving, as you're extending the shoulder, there's the tension spread out, right, throughout those musculatures, because there's more, that movement is produced by multiple muscles that aren't going to turn off. So it's not cheating. I think this is where people need to understand, it's not cheating, it's just you cannot target specifically the triceps during this movement. It's not just the long head. If you're going down, it's not just the long head of your triceps that's being recruited. So elbow extension, though, whether you're thinking about the mind-muscle connection, like I said, we'll probably get into this in a later video, it's irrelevant in the fact of If you're producing a resisted version, or even if you're just producing this movement extension, triceps are engaged. There's no two ways about it. So if you have questions, just don't swing. So if you don't want to cheat the movement, make sure you're not swinging. If you let the elbows come up slightly during like a pull down, make sure you're not swinging down to use the lats. Basically, is going to be a much stronger muscle to get momentum here and then extend the elbows. If you're doing it with some slight extension, when there's nothing, or flexion to extension of the shoulder before the activation of the triceps, or before the elbow extension, I'm sorry, just make sure you're not swinging it down. Whether your elbows come here or here, that's okay to include in the movement. Nothing wrong with that. So use it as a variation. It's not cheating, but that's what's going on. If you are allowing your shoulder to slightly flex and your elbow to come back down before your elbow extends, you're gonna include some of the other musculature. Hope these tips are helpful. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.